Hello all you model building enthusiasts out there. This will be my fourth installment of this Kenworth build. And today I'm going to be going over what I've gotten done so far, probably in the past month or so. I'll swing over here. And again, I've been working on my frame. And I've gotten all my brakes and my airbags all plumbed for the air. Not wanting to turn, there's a wire hanging off the end of it. I boxed in my frame, and as you can see, I've got the top of it sanded off for plates, and I'll show you those in a minute. Just kind of want to keep going over. There's all the lines that are going to the air tanks. And there's the front. And then I'll flip this over so you can see the back side of it. One of the things I also want to point out in just a second here, and I've noticed this in a lot of other YouTube videos on this build from a lot of other people, and I'll explain to you what I found, is, let me zoom in here, the power steering reservoir. A lot of people are following the instructions on this. It is being shown as being upside down. As you can see, this here, right here, is your reading stick. This is your fill. And down here is your, possibly your return or your fill, or your return or your fill on this end. And of course, this is probably the spigot to drain it. And I know this because I've looked at some pictures and found that this is the way it actually goes. And let me go to the instructions here and I'll show you what everybody's making the mistake, or why everybody's making this mistake. Right here, the frame's upside down and it's showing the reservoir upside down being attached to the frame. That's incorrect. It should be the other way. So that anybody out there that builds this in the future and sees this knows that. So that's pretty much, I mean, that's pretty much everything now. I've shown the steering, and I've gotten the center of the frame painted because I've gotten all the work done on each end of it. Let me just flip it over a little bit here so you can see the underside of the work I've done. And it's all correctly plumbed. Okay, and now come over here. And here's this panel. And bear with me for a second. I didn't take this stuff out before I decided to do this. I'm going to put my phone down there for a minute. Alright, let's take a look. And there's the covers. Now I'm probably going to have to redo this one here because it's not quite right. And there's a little bit of a gap here for the sleeper onto it. So I may redo this one. And here's my fifth wheel now. I covered it all. I filled it all in and rounded it all off to make it look like a cover. This is how I plan on displaying it without a trailer. With the trailer, I'm planning on not gluing this down. I'll take this one off. And I have this one here that I plan on using with the trailer. So I'll have two separate fifth wheels, one for each kind of display, depending upon how I want to display it. And that's pretty much it for the frame. I'm going to put this aside for a minute. And I've gotten some work done over here. I got my radiator painted and ready to go. I also used the Alclad chrome for the top of it. This right here is going to be my turbo intercooler. I still need to do some work on this, and it's getting painted silver. And this is going to be attached to the front of my radiator here. And of course, the fuel filters, the shroud. Now I used some sprue and I cleaned it up really nice for the turbo. I'll be bending this, and I also handmade some attachments here, the rubber garments that go in between the pipes. Get my phone to come in on it. But these will be painted orange and silver. And over here, I've got my motor pretty much done. There's just a couple more things I have to do to it. I want to put a power steering pump on the back of it. And I got to cover up a couple holes that I made in the front of it. And here we go. I got my transmission plumbed. And this is all correctly wired. Over here is the air pump. And I've got that all correctly plumbed. What you're seeing there, that red and black wire, is actually attached to my alternator. And my power steering pump. Now, there's a little confusion as to where the power steering pump goes on this motor. Some say in the back, some say on the front. So I'm going to go ahead and put it on the back. I got an extra spare piece that I'm going to use for the power steering pump on the back of this. I was going to put it on the front, and I drilled out a couple of holes for it, but I'm going to cover those up. And I've got, now this I saw in a picture, I got this plumbed. It's a wire coming out of the block that went to the starter motor to the solenoid. Of course, the oil filters, I've got those plumbed up to the head. I fabricated the oil overflows on this side of the motor. And as you can see, I've also got all the fuel injectors correctly plumbed. And here's the holes that I made on the side here. I'm going to cover those up. I didn't think that looked right. And I fabricated an intake for the top of it for the turbo or the intercooler. Now, I'm not going to attach the turbo yet because I'm not exactly sure now where that is going to sit, because it's not attached to the piece that was made for this motor. And a couple other things here. Here's the fuel line in the yellow. The receiving fuel line. I also did some work on the fan I rounded the inside of the blades so they didn't look flat like plastic. I also added a little bit of detail to them by putting connectors to it. And I plumbed out this filter here. This was also in a photograph that I had seen. And all this chrome here that you're seeing is all L-clad spray chrome that I used. I added a dipstick to the oil pan. And I've come over here to show you what I did with the alternator. The alternator's all wired up. But it's almost done. It's like 99% there. And it'll be ready to put in soon. Here's my turbo. My L-clad chrome on that. And that pretty much sums it up for this month for what I've done. All right, until the next time, have fun with your builds. Oh, and if you have any suggestions or comments, please leave a comment or suggestion. I'm actually looking to decal with some home decals. I'm not quite sure what program to use. If anybody out there could tell me what kind of program to use for decals, and that would be greatly appreciated. Till next time.